All right, so this video is going to be a first impressions of the Elektron Syntakt. I've had it for just under a week or so, and I made 8 beats with it so far. I'm a fan of Elektron gear, so I do want you to understand that I'm going to be slightly biased towards liking the Elektron products. With that being said, I will give my honest first impressions as much as I can. Also, I bought this from Zounds. I was not sent this or anything like that. I did purchase my own. I pre-ordered it right away when they announced it, and I actually use Zounds' payment plan system as well, which is really cool. So we are an affiliate with Zounds, you know, no paid promotion or anything like that. But if you are interested in picking up a Syntakt, I think a great option is using Zounds.com. I actually bought the Summit that way back when it first came out. So yeah, my first week essentially with the Syntakt. You know, I've been super busy, so I haven't been able to exclusively focus on it, but the times that I have been able to sit down and make some stuff with the Syntakt, I've been really pleased with the workflow and feel, because it's basically the Digitakt essentially. It's its own thing as well, but like it's an amalgamation of a lot of Elektron parts coming together to make this one box. One thing that I was really surprised is when they announced that they were putting analog stuff or analog circuitry into it. That was a big plus for me because I really like the analog sound from the Elektron boxes. Like I have the Analog 4 off to the side, really enjoy that box. I also enjoy the analog rhythm, however you pronounce it. So the first thing that I didn't know walking away from videos that I watched on the Syntakt already was whether or not I was actually going to enjoy the sounds directly coming out of the box. Because that's something that you kind of have to get a piece of gear and experiment with it to see if you really connect with the sounds that they produce. And I'm happy to report that I'm very happy with most of the sounds. I think the 8 digital emulations of machines that they have are really good. I do have some qualms with the chord machine, and we'll get to that in a second. And then the analog emulations I think are fantastic as well. I really like the kick, I like the snare, and I like the dual VCO, as you know, the dual VCO is in the rhythm as well, so that's really good. Number 12 does not have the dual VCO. Number 12 is more of a percussion-y, like metallic sound, hi-hat type of thing. The analog cymbal is what they're calling it. Would have been nice to have all 4 of them have the option for the VCO. It is what it is, it's fine. Like I usually just default that to some hats or cymbal type of thing because it's an analog cymbal. One thing that I don't know is whether or not I'm in the honeymoon phase, which I am. I'm for sure in the honeymoon phase because it's a new box, but I don't know how long it'll be until I go, that sounds like the Syntakt. Because obviously the machines do have a particular thing going on. They are very flexible, but they're not like legit full-on synths that you can peel apart and like mess with every part. It's not like a Novation Peak, obviously. Of course, they're not going to put 8 Novation Peaks in here, like clearly. But the things that they do give you, I think, are very Elektron friendly. It's actually almost like a mix between the things that the OP1 does or the OPZ, extrapolating important aspects that could shift the sound in a fun way. So for instance, if we go pattern, let's go 13 on here, and just taking this digital kick and start messing with it. I feel that is highly usable. Very usable sounds out of there. Like I feel like the tweakability is immediately there. And it's also just one page. I think they did a good job of giving you the bits to get a sound that you could, or getting you faster to a sound that you'd like. They did a good job of that. I've noticed that for every time I've set up something, I've been able to tweak it really fast and find something that I personally enjoy listening to. So that's a plus side for me, but that's also very preferential as well. I know a lot of people might just not jive with it at all, and that's totally fine. Don't buy the box if you don't jive with it. Real quick, if you're enjoying this content, a like, subscribe, and comment below goes a long way here on YouTube. So thank you very much. Let's talk about the chords though. So one issue that I have with this is they're giving you a 4-voice chord in the system, and they want you to do the Elektron way of, you know, messing with the voicing, like make it, you know, a major 7th. You know, a 7th chord, sus4, like they give you all the options of the chords in here, and then they give you the balance to kind of change the voicing essentially. It's kind of changing the voicing, you know. I'm not exactly sure 100% what it's doing, but it feels like it's a voicing type of thing. It's called balance, but yeah. And then you got the waveform stuff and all that. So the waveform, obviously that's cool. And then this balance stuff, I don't know how useful that is, personally. And also, why not just give us 4 voices? Like, you're already giving a 4-voice chord in there. So you have the voices in the box already. So it's not an issue of memory. Apparently I can load up all these with chords and have 4 voices in all the chords, all of them, right? Why not just give us the ability to play all 4 notes? Well, then you'd have to have the MIDI ability to be able to control the 4 notes. Well, that's already in there. The sequencer already has the ability to do 4-note polyphony in the MIDI mode right here. You can do MIDI mode, which is basically just like the digitact or the digitone. By the way, the digitact and digitone are off to the side. If you could see that off to the side right there. Yep. I have these off to the side just in case I want to reference something. So the MIDI track is already set up to be able to handle 4-note polyphony. So I find it kind of weird that they didn't just make the chord be able to take between 1 to 4 notes in whatever voicing it wants. Because it seems like it's not a memory issue or a hardware issue, or a hardware limitation issue, I should say. And even if it was, maybe just limit it to only having 1 or 2 chord machines at a time. Actually, you know what? Maybe there is a limit. I just don't know. I haven't tried it. In fact, I guess I could try it real quick. Everything is a chord. So that illustrates my point. You could have all the chord modes on all 8 tracks. So why not have the MIDI being able to be on there? Because you can have MIDI mode do 4-note polyphony on any of these tracks. Actually, all 12 of the tracks. So a little oversight. In fact, maybe they might change that in the future. Hearing some feedback on there, because I feel like the chord mode, while it is useful, I find it the least useful out of all of the machines that I gravitate towards. But back to the overall sounds, I think I really appreciate what is coming out of the Syntakt, and especially with the effects chain here. So this is something that I've always wanted in these boxes, because I have an analog heat and I really love the analog heat. I use it all the time for any kind of drum machine that is being fed out. Like, I always want to hit it with the analog heat, you know, do some saturation, some filtering, and then send it out to wherever I'm recording or whatever. Like, if I'm using MPC1, I want the analog heat hooked up to be able to fatten it up and also have a dedicated filter knob immediately. So this kind of meets me halfway, having an effects chain right here, because you get the drive. Oh yeah, I gotta route it. And the routing system in here, I love. I love the fact that I don't have to have the entire box hit with the drive or the filter. I love that I can pick and choose what's gonna work on there. So I can drive the kick, and let's do the analog snare. And when you throw like a bass that's rumbling in there, it really has a nice analog fatness. And then you got the filter as well. So you hear that? This high harmonic content chord is cutting through while this is being filtered. Love it. But if I throw it in there, now it's being filtered and overdriven. Awesome. I love that. So it's not going to replace the analog heat. You know, the analog heat has a lot more saturation models in there, which I find very useful. Like that mid drive is great if you want to get nasty with it. Also, you have envelope following for the input signal and all that, which I don't think the FX chain can do stuff like that. Like you can sequence the FX chain, which is awesome. That's new, and I actually haven't really experimented with that. Again, this is first impression type of stuff. So I haven't done anything with that yet, but just the basics. Like you got 2 LFOs. I've actually used the LFO on the drive quite a bit to kind of give it like this general push and pull of the drive saturation, so your ears hear different saturation subtly throughout time. So to sum up on the effects side, it's really awesome not have to hook up an analog heat to have the bare minimum on here, where I can filter, select instruments, and also overdrive them to give them more bite and growl and like make them saturate together. This is one of these things where if they made a Digitech Mark II or Digitone Mark II, I would absolutely want this style of effects chain put into these boxes. Like, that would be awesome. Another major feature that I found really useful, because before I wouldn't really care about the keyboard on the Digitact as much, but with this, you can now adjust the keyboard to for a couple things. You can fold it so you have 2 octaves. Well, it's in chromatic mode, so let me change it from chromatic mode to, say, minor. Also, yeah. So now we have a dual VCO. We got track number 11, which is dual VCO. So we have 2 octaves here. So let's go down an octave. And it's an A minor, right? Oh no, C minor, sorry. That makes it so much more usable for writing just on the box by itself. You know, you still don't have velocity sensitivity pads, which I guess I'm okay with. It would have been nice to have velocity sensitive, but at the same time, I think it would have made the feeling a bit strange. These have a nice activation, you know, like a mechanical keyboard. If they made them velocity sensitive, it'd be a rubbery push, and I don't know if I'd enjoy playing those as much. I'd enjoy those better for drums, but getting the velocity sensitivity of the a keyboard feel, a playing keyboard, I don't think I would enjoy that as much. So, I don't know, it's a compromise. But this feature, I would love to see that in a firmware update in the future for the Digitakt, Digitone. Like, that's software, right? It seems like they should be able to do that, so big plus on that. Really enjoy that. That being said, I still way prefer a keyboard hooked up. In fact, the last 2 beats that I made, the pattern 7 and pattern 8, I hooked up a keyboard, and I found it so much more usable and really opens up the box for the flavor for how you play. In fact, I'll hook it up real quick. My trusty Arturia key step. A little dirty right now. So I believe the auto channel currently is 14. Let's double check. Auto channel 14. So for anybody wondering how this works with Elektron gear, you want to use the auto channel for your keyboard. So whatever is selected on a Syntakt or a Digitakt or a Digitone or analog rhythm, F4, all that stuff, they all work the same way. The auto channel is what gives you the ability to control any channel based on what's selected on the box. So 11 is selected, and it's playing. Now 9 is selected, and I have the kick drum. So like I was saying, using a keyboard with this just opens it up dramatically, because now I can do things like, my rhythm's off right there, but you get the idea. I can do multiple octaves and also the velocity immediately. So when I play those in, quantize a bit. Yeah, I definitely got sloppy on this. There. So that would be very difficult to play. I mean, difficult's the wrong term. That would be time consuming in order to program that into the key step mode of this. You know, like if I was playing it just on the keys like that, I don't think I can, because there's more octaves here. Yeah, it wouldn't be able to do that range of octaves. Then I'd have to go into each note and adjust the velocity. So in my particular experience working with the Digitakt, Digitone, these boxes and all that, I always prefer having some sort of controller keyboard hooked up for better expression on the keys. Obviously, depends on if you play the keys. You know, if you do, then you're going to appreciate it. On these last 2 patterns, played everything on the keys. So to round things out, you know, it would have been nice to have the sampling feature, but I also completely understand that if you put sampling into the 8 voices right here, then you really would be cannibalizing what the Digitakt does, aside from the additional MIDI channels. You know, you'd have the MIDI the additional MIDI channels, which is nice. Obviously, like if you want to make the Digitakt your main hub, it's actually a great box for that because you have those 8 MIDI tracks to be able to send out to different devices. But that being said, if you take away or if you cannibalize the sampling features of the Digitakt and put them into the Syntakt, I think that it really does render the Digitakt obsolete. I personally, I can't think of a reason why I would keep the Digitakt if this box had sampling. So that said, I'm also looking forward to making some jams with, say, the Digitakt to my side and the Digitone off here. I'd probably keep the Digitone for maybe some actual playing live. Tweak the sounds live. Filter all that stuff. So keep this as like a 8-voice synthesizer. And forget the multi-timbral part of it. Use the Syntakt as drums and additional tonal elements that are going on, and then use the Digitakt strictly for triggering samples. If I want to put in like some guitar samples or voice samples or something like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But like I said, this is first impressions. It's my first week with the Syntakt, and I am really digging it. I don't know if you could tell. Everything that I've made, I've just kind of felt like inspired to pick it up and play, and that is a great sign. I'm used to the Elektron process or the sequencing style, so it was immediate for me to be able to pick it up and understand how to make a track, like go in and adjust the scale and be able to do like 8 bars on certain things, 4 bars on other things and all that. So I understand the tricks of getting around certain limitations in the Elektron boxes. So it was pretty natural for me to pick it up. I'm also looking to try this as a sound module hooked up to an MPC, because I think it would be interesting to have the MPC sequence the sounds out of the Syntakt as well. So I'm going to try that in the future. So if you're looking for more content, more Syntakt content, I do plan on making some more videos. I want to try out Overbridge. I haven't touched Overbridge at all with this. So I'm interested to see how that feels with working with Ableton. An MPC style hooked up to it to actually control it as like a multi-timbral device. And then eventually, after I've done some projects with it, do like an official review type of thing or my final thoughts with the Syntakt, So if you're interested in that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And let me know in the comments below as well if you have already picked up the Syntakt, if you are interested in the Syntakt. And also, quick reminder, we got affiliate links down below, which do support the channel if you do choose to use those affiliate links. Yeah. But I think that's it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Deuces.